what's up? It's Kit, time for another video. Today I'm gonna show you something very important because this is actually a topic that is often asked, and although I answer it, I haven't really shown this, so it's just good practice to show you guys. All right, so this is a Ketan. Obviously, this is one of my own. Question always pops up: how would you know the length of the assist hook that you're gonna make? Now, here's the thing. This is something very common for one jig to the next, and it's not something that is exclusive to the jig alone. All right, you have to understand that it doesn't matter. Also, if this jig is really long, okay, like that long, or this short, or that long. There's always going to be an average, and a lot of people kind of have a hard time determining what the average is. Okay, now obviously, when it gets really short, things are different. Okay, but if you say like, a jig that short, a jig that long, a jig that long, all the same. Okay, so this is how easy it is. Now, especially for this particular jig, and remember, when I'm building, I'm always measuring and stuff like that, and then I would always, kind of have a length. Like, take for example, with this one right here, and this is another personal jig, all right? You could see that I have it right there, okay? And remember, I just measured this. If you if you forgot how that video looked like, you could actually just look for this and then you could find it. Now, if we put the jig side by side, this one right here, okay, the pink one, all right, you will see where the hook actually hangs, okay, is where also the huge damage is at. And that's by instinct already, because I've been doing this for quite some time, and kind of just it kind of just kicks in because I rigged this jig like a lot. Now there is an allowance. Okay, so as you can see, there's two spots where there's a lot of damage. There's here, okay, and here. And majority of the damages is actually right there. Okay, so that length. So it only makes sense to actually make either one that is just behind the eye, or a little bit that distance right there. Okay, so today that's exactly what we're going to do. We are going to make a jig and hit that sweet spot in this jig right here. Again, this is a single hook rig, but I'm gonna kind of simplify everything for you guys. All right, now, cord 240. We're gonna splice it. It means that this cord will be 480. That's a lot. Okay, now, see the length, like so, solid ring, and it's there. Now there's a little bit of an excess there because of the hook, but we are going to finalize everything so that when we put the length in, all right, when we put the knot and everything, plus the hook length, it should be on that mark. All right. Now, I did say I was going to simplify things for you guys. All right. So I have been using needles. Okay. These are nothing but sewing needles that are extra long. And there's still more here. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take one more of these needles. Okay. And I will take the longest one. That'll probably make things very easy. Okay, there we go. Okay, I just bought this off of a dollar shop, and with the mind that I was actually going to make um, I was gonna make tools out of it. Okay, so now we fold it, we insert the needle in the middle. You have to kind of get it at an angle, okay, like that, so that it's able to go inside, okay? And when you're using a needle, take it slow, okay? There we go. That's it. Take your ring. Remember, if you're rigging a kaitan, and it doesn't matter if it's mine or if it's Wael's, okay, at the end of the day, I'm using it as a measurement because I know this guy has a lot of kaitans as well. So, even if I'm using this, using my jig as a measurement tool, kind of a standard that we will use so that all kaitans will be rigged like that, because guess what? The fish would always strike this particular jig or any jig within that length, average. They would always strike at the same distance, and you want your hook there. Now, this is when you want to catch almost anything, almost everything that bites. Okay, almost everything. Because for the bigger ones, guess what? You put it just behind the eye. And for some reason, the bigger ones always hit near the eye. Okay, because they're big and they're not too, they're not too scared to chomp on something big. And that is the hallmark right there. So if you want only the bigger stuff, you put it between the eye and where most of the damage is. And I guarantee you, most of the fish you'll hook will be the bigger ones, but you'll miss a lot. All right, now, let's see here. We want it there. Okay. So, we will tie the knot like so. All right, let's see there. A little bit on the long side. So again, just adjust it. Okay. And what we want is for the hook to actually sit there like so. And I think we've done it. Probably a tad. Okay, yeah, that's it. Because that's gonna sit on a split ring right there. That's it. So now that we have that, now remember this is still going to move. So what you need is to actually just push back a little bit, tighten up using the. Actually, just there we go. Adjust it a tad bit because I know that when we pull, it's going to adjust a bit more. That's A, and B. There we go. That's it. I'm happy with that. Once you're happy with that, all you have to do is just, again, use this trusty tool. We take it off of the vise and we tighten it first. Okay? We tighten it first before we start tying. So now that that is tightened, we cut the excess and we tie again. Just because this will be hidden doesn't mean to say that you have an excuse to do a sloppy job. So Tie this up really well. Okay. I think this is one of those things that it's not really often discussed. People kind of just put things in random, and there's no reason why why is the length like that? There's none. I'm telling you, there's actually no standard in the lengths. It's just like, okay, this is 2 centimeters, 3-4 centimeter drop and stuff like that. But if you look at your jigs, there's your guide right there. And obviously, if you don't tie your own jigs, you are forced to actually buy the next best thing, which is, okay, you measure it, and after you measure it, you take the one that's closest to the bite marks, and that's what you buy. But if you're making your own, and I really encourage you guys to do that, do it. Because all your assist hooks would be sharpshooters. And you want them to be sharpshooters because you don't want them to be hitting duds. Especially when the bite isn't that much, If fishing is not that active, whether you be fast jigging or slow jigging or anything fishing, it's going to be a difficult trip if your hooks don't hit their mark. It's going to be a miserable trip if it's a difficult day and you can't hit your mark. Been there, done that, got the t-shirt. Was never a fan. Alright, so I'm cutting the nozzle a bit so that we're able to close the tip is actually clogged. So this is on its last legs, really. Alright, so now that that's done, I'm going to shrink tube that sucker. Okay. Alright, again, just because it won't be seen doesn't mean to say that we have an excuse to do a sloppy job. So even if we don't wrap that, that looks mighty fine. We're just going with the old practice of putting these shrink tubes. Okay, now okay, so I can't wait to actually put a split ring and finally complete that thing. Alright, so to the wraps, like so, a little bit to the end. Alright, there we go. Now, it's just a matter of actually, I actually ran out of butane, so we're gonna have to use this instead. You just have to be fast so it doesn't get dark. Alrighty, there you go. So as you can see, that is looking really spiffy. Okay. And let's see. Take one of our, whoops, our split rings here. Okay. Put our hook. And guess where it's gonna sit? Guess where it's gonna sit, boys? There we go. Now, if you're new to the channel, this channel talks about the hows and whys of fishing. We cover everything from big game, ultralight, everything in the middle, including fly fishing. We're doing an explainer video on hook positioning for your split ring, for your what do you call this? For your jigs right there. All right. So guess where? Look at that. It's right smack where the action is. All right. So there we go, boys. That is how you actually judge the distance of where the hooks should be sitting. Now, this is for general fishing, of course. This is for pretty much anything and everything that eats the jig. Now, you can get very, very specific with this. There's rigging for specifically amberjacks. And we're going to cover that down the line. But this will catch an amberjack as well. Okay, but that positioning right there is pretty much for any fish that would grab this, because that's exactly where the hook should be. All right. Anyway, if you've got questions, don't be shy. Just ask. All right. And if you haven't yet, please click on the like button for the algorithm and subscribe if you haven't yet. Goodness, if you haven't subscribed yet, I don't know. Alright, anyway, that's it for now. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Class dismissed.